Hello all, welcome to my entry into the Rob Zombie live action ranking. 8 films that Rob Zombie directed. I think he wrote all of them too. That wouldn't be much of a surprise.
Bitch, I will crawl over there and I will skull fuck the shit out of you.
Cody, Leach, and Rudy from Gen X Reviews are also doing very similar rankings. Well, not very similar, but they're ranking Rob Zombie movies. I'm the perfect person to join in this charade because, as you can see, the picture quality is not that great, leaves something to be desired. And I'm not even talking about my physical appearance, I'm just talking about the picture quality. So in my super dark, ultra saturated setup, I will be in honor of Rob Zombie. Words I thought I'd never say before in my life. You're probably going to hear the F word a lot.
Fuck!
I would really like to use that. I probably won't be using that much is filmmaker. Filmmaking techniques. If you're a fan of drama or romantic comedies or action, maybe come back next time. Here we go. This is much better now that I could speak to you seriously from a critique standpoint. Got the phone all set up. So number 8 is 2022's The Munsters. When I think of family movies, the last name on my list to write, never mind direct, the last name I would think of to write a script for a family film is Rob Zombie, and it's more than evident here. I thought it was just me. There's a certain point during the watching of this movie where I genuinely thought I'm just a Rob Zombie hater, a troll. But there's a couple of friends that I have on YouTube that are, true old school horror fans. And, well, let's just say they liked The Munsters the way women liked Netflix's Blonde. Rob Zombie, once again, with an IP, he decides to go further back and give you a prequel, a prologue of sorts, of the thing that you know, and everything you know about the Munsters. Black and white, sitcom, family, just throw all that out the window. We have Sherry Moon Zombie, shocker, get used to that name. She is the role of Lily. I forgot what her maiden name. She's not a Munster yet because she's still dating. Of all people to cast in the Lily Munster role, Sherry Moon Zombie hasn't proven herself as a lead actress. Sherry Moon Zombie kind of sucks the life out of every single scene she's in and mails it in. The truly unfortunate thing is Jeff Daniel Phillips, who plays the role of Herman, is stuck between a rock and a hard place. He really busts his ass, and he's stuck. I mean, you're not replacing Fred Gwynn. You're not coming close to Fred Gwynn. Not that he tries to be Fred Gwynn, he tries to do something completely different. I mean, Pixar does it really well, where they give you those innuendos, those jokes that the kids get, but they don't understand that there's a double entendre that the parents can also get. I don't think Rob Zombie, as far as writing for families, is anywhere near as strong enough to do something like that. So he resorts to old tricks. And when it comes to comedy, he's no writing comedy. Oh for 1 so far as I'm concerned. And as far as direction, the one thing that I give him credit for, the first 5 minutes of this movie are spectacular. The mood, the tone, the cinematography, everything about the way this movie opens is so promising. And then it just goes so far out of whack. It's pretty, but that's not enough for me. I mean, if what I want to do with your movie is mute it and just have it light my room up, that's not good enough. That's not a story. That's not anything strong about characters. He has these Schumacher Batman-esque, Schumacherian Batman shots of the characters fall in love with the hearts behind each other. And I get it. It's a family movie, but it's still tacky and terrible and just so tacky and hacky is probably what I would say about the Munsters. Again, I thought I was hating, I thought I was trolling on Rob Zombie, but I was reassured from people who I know who are diehards about the original Munsters, and offended would probably be a polite way of putting how they felt about this film.
7.
Number 7, 3 from Hell. First of all, for this to be Sid Haig's swan song, that's one thing. The House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, those movies got quite a bit of buzz in the horror community. And here is the third film in that series, even though, never mind the ending of Devil's Rejects. Don't worry about that. This movie is just more of every terrible Rob Zombie trope that you could think of. And Sherry Moon Zombie, who for about 4 or 5 movies, she was dull and drab and unnoticeable as far as, bringing something to the table as far as charisma is concerned. She returns to that annoying, coked out, laughing, whatever. I think in the movie they mentioned that she has a mental issue, which is sort of insulting to those of us with mental issues. More of white trash, people killing people because they're bad people. And Sid Haig died halfway through the making of this movie, so he in character gets the chair, or he dies in jail. Like that's all. But the rest of them are off doing murder stuff and saying fuck a whole bunch, and it's deep fried and it sounds like it's from the 70s. And man, there are only one radio station in Rob Zombie movies, and they play 70s classic rock. That's it. For as much credit as you can give to House of a Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Rejects, those are movies that really put Rob Zombie on the planet. He got Halloween for a reason. There was promise there, and to have it lead to this, something that he had to crowdfund when financiers and studios don't want to give you money to make your movies, and You're a successful musician, a successful filmmaker. It kind of says something about everything. The only thing I have to say is I wonder if there were refunds available.
6.
Number 6, The Devil's Rejects.
What?
My list is going to really bother a lot of people.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
Probably Rudy the most, because I think Rudy is quite a big Rob Zombie fan.
Good.
The Devil's Rejects is, I mean, watching it back in 2005, it was something new, something different. There was 2005. You had this weird no man's land as far as horror is concerned, and here comes House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects, and it really felt fresh when it was one of the first two movies from a new perspective. But from the 2022 lens, looking back at these movies, it's a one-trick pony. It's the same shit. There's not much in the story department. The characters are all right. I would give credit to the screenwriting in Rob Zombie's earlier stuff. There was some substance other than the rapid fire fucks. But going back and watching this after seeing his entire catalog, it just feels like a whole bunch of other shit. Like I bullshit you not. If you were to take the label off or just throw one of the movies on and ask me which one it is, I wouldn't be able to tell you. And we're including other movies outside the Firefly trilogy. I wouldn't be able to tell you what. Actually, that's not entirely true. 3 from Hell is pretty pretentious by Rob Zombie's standards and bad. But everything else, I'd have a hard time figuring out. It's just not my style. The latter half version of me, it doesn't find this movie as exciting and new and refreshing as the 2005 version of me.
5.
Number 5 is The House of a Thousand Corpses. Why not we'll just connect the dots. 1, 2, 3, right in a row. Or should I say 5, 6, 7. For the same reasons I listed earlier about Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses. Again, positives. A really, really unique look. Rob Zombie, I mean, Cody and I have said this for years. Rob Zombie has an eye. He can direct films. I mean, The Munsters, going back to the bottom of the list, he's got an eye for creativity, and he has homages that you know, not unlike Tarantino, that you can tell the guy is a fan of horror, and he's trying to emulate some of the things that we've seen in the past, but he can't really fill out any of those pretty pictures with substance or characters. Coming into this list, before rewatching everything, I wouldn't have envisioned it the way it came out. I'm being completely honest with you, but with a fresh set of eyes, with all of the history of the Rob Zombie catalog behind me. We have 31. Yeah, that opening shot, that's pretty pretentious. A bunch of nonsense monologue. Everything's just so out there and weird.
In hell, everybody loves popcorn.
That I actually appreciate it. It's still got that Rob Zombie, I love to say fuck, and for some reason it's always the 70s, at least by the soundtrack's standards. Whatever game it was that they were setting up this obstacle course for, fine. It's something that, you know, I can read on a piece of paper and say, oh, okay, so there's an outline, there's something to it. Not the greatest thing in the world, but as far as what we're up against here, creative, all things considered. I'm being genuine when I say that. It's quite creative. If you think about the filmmaker who's making the film in question, it's something different. It's something fresh. Is it something good? Oh, well, when you Sherry Moon Zombie can't carry a movie. I really hate to tell you that. And this movie helps that cause. There's a reason that she's made 8 Rob Zombie movies and hasn't been cast in anything but a bit part on like CSI or something. She's not getting any other work other than the lead role in a Rob Zombie movie. Usually, if you're performing well, you'll back into a featured spot on some other thing. But no. He insists on putting her in the lead role and last one standing because wife, paycheck, got to pay off the mortgage. I genuinely don't know, but it's not helping the story or the movie or the character. It's not helping any of those things. I mean, there's tons of directors that cast their significant others. But the funny thing about all of them is their significant others end up doing other work. That's not the case here. And it's like so infinitely frustrating that like Rob Zombie has George Lucas prequel syndrome where apparently nobody's telling him, hey, no, how about somebody else with the lead role? Sherry Moon Zombie is the Jar Jar Binks of the Rob Zombie catalog. Which is Lords of Salem. Sherry Moon Zombie, again, the lead actress. And this was the movie that Rob Zombie made after Halloween 2, or his version of Halloween 2. And he played it straight. This is the most normal looking movie that he has in his arsenal. And if you just leave it on TV and don't tell anybody what they're looking at, people will watch it and sit through it. It seems like it was Rob Zombie's genuine effort to have a go for it, to really be a, maybe not mainstream, but something that mainstream audiences may tolerate, even though there are moments where he kind of goes over the top, but it didn't work. And I would venture to say the reason that this movie didn't work for other audiences is because Sherry Moon Zombie she just doesn't emote. There's not much to her. She always sleeps with her ass hanging out of her pants. I don't know why that was a running gag in the movie, but other than that, it was a very mainstream looking movie. Muted colors, especially for Rob Zombie's standards, but this is probably one of his better scripts, and it's just unfortunate that it failed the way it did because he was trying. I genuinely have empathy for Rob Zombie, the creator, when it comes to the Lords of Salem. It's not fantastic, but it's not obnoxious with the zombie-isms that I would say kind of turn me off to watching some of his stuff. The ending's a little fucked, but what Rob Zombie movie isn't?
2,
Speaking of fucked endings, here comes number 2. It's Halloween 2. Only on a Rob Zombie list, but I have Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 at number 2. This is Rob Zombie filmmaking with somebody telling him, hey, maybe don't do that, do this. And like you could tell there's a tug of war in the movie between people actually speaking like humans speak and then, the fuckathons.
Fuck!
But Brad Dourif, you can tell Brad Dourif's really trying. And when he has a moment of suffering in the movie, I felt it. There were moments in this movie where I felt like they were genuinely trying to make a high concept slasher. It's a bit too much for the slasher community, if I do say so. For the most part. I know some of you feel differently, but for the most part, the slasher crowd just wants a big hulking thing to slash every 10 to 15 minutes. The good old Paramount adage.
1,
The opening 30, 40 minutes or so are Rob Zombie giving us the backstory of Michael Myers' upbringing, and
Bitch, I will crawl over there and I will skull fuck the shit out of you!
I never thought I would think of Michael Myers' parents as white trashy and skull fuck and all of that. I mean, horror slashers are far from polite, but I'll skull fuck the shit out of you is certainly something I never thought I would associate with the Michael Myers lineage. After all of that, the movie, for the most part, is a rather decent, if shot-for-shot, recreation of the original 1978 Halloween. Like I said, Rob Zombie, he can make movies. He's a really good director. Get the pen out of his hands. Have somebody else write something and have him direct it. He has vision. Again, in Halloween, for the most part, he's replicating a lot of stuff that was already done in the original, but with a slight twist. And that's not the worst thing in the world. Quentin Tarantino has made quite a bit of money homaging and copying and emulating. So whoever it is that's telling Rob Zombie that he's Quentin Tarantino-esque should maybe stop doing that and just let him focus on making movies and asking other people what their ideas and scripts are. And, you could put Sherry Moon Zombie in your movies, just don't have her be the lead. Don't have her take up 100% of the runtime. The detriment to Rob Zombie's films, and it's present in all of his movies, is heavy cursing, heavy, like, southern fried white trash themes, casting his wife, who, for the most part, more times than not, isn't feeling like she's putting 100% in, or I'm not getting any charisma out of her or her character. I think that, like I said about number 3, I genuinely think you put somebody else in her role in Lords of Salem, there's a completely different path that we're talking about. Because that movie tanked hard And that was what appeared to be his genuine, all right, I'll do it your way. And it was his worst grossing film that was financed. So I wouldn't call myself a Rob Zombie fan. I keep rooting for him to make something good. You could check as far back as this channel exists. I really wanted 31 to be something special. I was hoping 3 from Hell would be a continuation of what I originally thought about the Firefly trilogy, and then was reminded that I've grown up a bit. For as much as I've said during this list, I hope he gets an opportunity to direct something that somebody else has written. Kevin Williamson, give Rob Zombie a script. Let's see what happens there. Have the casting manager be somebody else completely. Let Rob Zombie direct somebody else's baby, and let's see what happens. Am I missing anything? Let me know down below. I realize that this is not so much a greatest hits ranking so much as it's a farthest from the bottom ranking. You disagree with me? I know people have high praise for the Firefly trilogy, especially the first 2. So I did too. I thought I did too, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting cynical and letting way too much get into my brain. Like I'm letting too much outside voice stuff happen, and it's affecting my opinion, I think. That's it. I'm gonna plead insanity if you think I'm a fucking idiot. So I've been CP. You haven't. Thumbs up if you agree with anything I've said. Comment down below what your list is. Shout out to the patrons who keep this channel running. Hopefully by the Halloween ranking, I will have a regular camera setup and not a phone or a webcam. Remember, guys, just opinions. I'm not right, but that also means neither are you. But seriously, as far as I'm concerned, I'm right.